Lindor launches one deep right field. JD Martinez looking up. Gone to Souvenir City.
You know what the worst part about this video is? As an Indians fan, it's pretty close to Christmas, and I can't even ask for a Francisco Lindor jersey from Santa Claus, because guess what? I'm probably going to get it on Christmas, be super happy, and then by the end of that day, once the Christmas magic is over, Francisco Lindor will be heading to LA or Philly or something like that. So, yeah. Okay, what's going on, guys? It's Fuzzy. Welcome back to yet another Major League Baseball video. I woke up this morning and the first thing I do is I like to check MLB.com to see if there's any crazy articles out there, and for the last 2 to 3 weeks, it has been straight misery for me. There's been Corey Kluber trade rumors, then he actually gets traded. There has been Francisco Lindor rumors since 2018, and then also Mike Clevenger has been involved. We've already traded Trevor Bauer, so it's been just an awful year for me in general. But what we're going to do today is we will be reacting to a brand new article. Now this one is very in-depth. This one's from Andrew Simon of MLB.com, and he came up with an article stated the 6 not so crazy trade proposals that might actually make sense. So what we're going to do is we're going to break that down as an Indians fan, and then we're going to try and dissect it as a baseball fan. So we're going to try and be as non-biased as possible, if that's even possible. Fasten your seatbelts because it's going to be a bumpy ride. You get to see me have a mental breakdown, but we're going to try our best. There we go. Francisco Lindor and the 6 trades that might make sense. The first headline, this one simply says, Mr. Smile heads to Hollywood. So I'm reading the article right here. If you guys want to follow along, it's in the description down below. But this one says the Dodgers get one single player, Francisco Lindor, and the Indians in exchange will receive outfielder Alex Verdugo. I'm all about that. I've been a big fan of him. He's got a cannon for an arm. He can absolutely rake. I do like that. We also need some outfield help. So we get Alex Verdugo, right-handed pitcher Dustin May, who is MLB's 32nd best prospect. We also get catcher Keibert Ruiz, and then infielder Jeter Downs. I've heard a lot of good things about Jeter Downs. Now this one, I am going to be honest with you, it does not include Gavin Lux, and that's why trade talks have really stalled. He's supposed to be the next big thing, but the one thing I want to bring up is today, as I'm recording this, the Yankees just released top prospect, or former top prospect, Chance Adams. Do you guys know a couple years ago, the Pirates actually tried to trade Garrett Cole to the Yankees instead of the Astros, and the Yankees said no because they were so adamant that Chance Adams was going to be the next big thing. He failed, and they just released him. So luckily, the Yankees, they did sign Garrett Cole, so they kind of got a small W. But the fact is, and I'm going to be a strong believer in this until the day I die, you do not trade stars for prospects. That's my opinion. But that's why this trade makes a little bit more sense, because Gavin Lux, he could be a hit, he could be a miss. Alex Verdugo, he's been in the big leagues. He's shown that he can be a really good player. So I'm actually okay with the Verdugo, May, Ruiz, Jeter Downs trade. I don't know if it's going to happen, but in my opinion, we're off to a good start. Mr. Simon, that's a good trade. The second title says new team, new state. And okay, so this one's a little bit funny. I also don't know what's going to come. I'm just reacting to this. I don't know any of these trades. I don't know if there's going to be an Angels trade or a Braves trade, anything like that. This is brand new. We are both reacting to it in real time. So the Reds get Francisco Lindor and Delino DeShields. So they just acquired Delino DeShields in a heist. Okay, the Rangers stole Corey Kluber. Yes, we get Clase. I guess it's Emmanuel Clase. I was saying it wrong the entire time. And Delino DeShields. So what they would do is they would use their brand new trade piece as a trade piece with Francisco Lindor, and the Indians would acquire second baseman slash outfielder Nick Senzel. I'm okay with that. Freddie Galvis, he's all right. He's pretty good in MLB The Show. Jonathan India, and then Tony Santillan. Okay, it kind of sounds like a lizard. So the biggest pieces in this trade would obviously be Lindor, and I would say Nick Senzel, who was pretty solid. He didn't have the highest batting average or OPS, but I've watched this guy play. He can run, he plays great defense, and with Jason Kipnis leaving the Indians, probably, I think that's going to happen in free agency. I think that Nick Senzel, he can plug in at second base. Maybe he plays outfield, and I think that he would be the biggest draw for the Indians. You put Freddie Galvis at shortstop, he's all right, and then I'm not sure what you do with India, who is, I guess, Major League Baseball's 93rd best prospect, and then Tony, he's the Reds' number 4 prospect. Yeah, I guess you can trade Francisco Lindor and get a 4 prospect, but then if you trade Corey Kluber, you have to get the team's 30th prospect. Makes sense. The Big Apple edition. This one is going to be fun, and by the looks of it already, ooh, Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about this real quick. So the Mets will be getting the single player Francisco Lindor, and what's funny is I just tweeted about this a few minutes ago because I was talking about the whole Mets Phillies, who is going to be the 4th place team in 2020 if either of them are going to come in 4th place, because they are getting better, I guess. But the Mets would get Francisco Lindor, and the Indians would receive shortstop Ahmed Rosario, who actually broke out in 2019. I am excited about his ceiling. It's very, very high. He almost looks like a poor man's Jose Reyes. Not the fullest potential in terms of defense, but I think that the speed is there and everything else included. I think that he is going to be a great young prospect. Not as good as Francisco Lindor, but check out this second name, J.D. Davis. I remember watching him live when the Mets swept the Indians last season and kind of ruined our playoff hopes. This guy, J.D. Davis, is an absolute monster. He's so good. He is the hardest hitter to face, and that's Yu Darvish saying that. So you know that this guy is an absolute tank in the batter's box. They would also get Brett Baty, the number 81 prospect in baseball, and then David Peterson, a left-handed pitcher. I honestly will say that this one does look enticing. Rosario had a great 2019, both in real life and in terms of fantasy, so all you fantasy guys would be ecstatic to plug him in that same lineup with Jose Ramirez, Carlos Santana, Franmil Reyes. I think that that would be pretty solid. And then we also get J.D. Davis. Wow. I know he plays an awful outfield, and I don't know how that would work. Maybe you plug him at third base and move Jose Ramirez to second base. But this one right here, I'd put it right below the Dodgers. So it goes Dodgers, then it goes Mets, then it goes Reds. But we still have a couple more to talk about. Oh my gosh, this guy is going out on all the limbs. This one goes from the Mets to the Yankees, the Bronx blockbuster. So of course the Yankees will get Francisco Lindor. Wow, I don't think that the Yankees would ever take this one. So the Indians would get Miguel Andujar, almost won Rookie of the Year back in 2018. Shohei Ohtani was able to grab that. You can debate that in the comment section all day long. I'm pretty sure that you guys are going to now that I brought it up. They would get Andujar, Clint Frazier, who they traded for Andrew Miller, so Frazier would be coming back. The Yankees are the king of rentals, I guess, and obviously signing huge pieces because they just got Garrett Cole. Anyways, let me get back to the trade. Andujar, Clint Frazier, the rest of these guys, I'm not really too sure. There's DV, is that how you say that? I don't know how to say it. DV Garcia, and then Albert Abreu. Now, the one thing is I don't think that this trade is going to work unless you acquire Jason Dominguez. I'm hoping that I say that name right. Could be Jason, could be Jason. I'm not really too sure of how you say some of these names in baseball. They're very hard, but I'm trying my best. But considering Francisco Lindor is a face of a franchise, I think that he would become the face of the New York Yankees. Call me crazy because Garrett Cole just signed, but I think Lindor has a bigger draw than Cole. That's just my opinion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this one. It says, who says no? It says, apparently the Indians would say no to this trade because it says, at least he says, Andujar and Frazier have notable offensive potential, but the defensive questions surrounding both players are great enough to sink this deal. So apparently because Andujar and Clint Frazier are both terrible in the field, they would not do it. But me as an Indians fan, I would say this probably ranks 3. Yeah, probably 3 behind the Dodgers, the Mets, and then there's the Yankees. The one thing I do want to note is a couple days ago, as I put out a video, a rumor came out that Francisco Lindor was supposedly heading to the Padres. There was a couple people that tweeted it. I thought it was going to happen. My Christmas was about to be ruined, and just everything in my life was going downhill. So I'm not even going to talk about that. I'm getting fat. That's what's going downhill. But apparently this was going to happen, that Francisco Lindor would go to San Diego, and in return, they would get Luis Patino, MLB's 30th ranked prospect, CJ Abrams, Manuel Margot, and Cal Quantrill. I don't even have to talk about that. No, absolutely not. So you're telling me that the Padres would have Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis Jr., Francisco Lindor, and Eric Hosmer in their infield? No, definitely not. So he says that the Indians would say no. The trade doesn't help Cleveland enough in the short term, and it's uncertain if Abrams can be the team shortstop of the future. Yeah, definitely. No, this is definitely the worst. Okay, it's been a pretty solid article so far, but that was trash. That was completely pointless. No way that would happen. We would have to get Manny Machado or Fernando Tatis if you're going to trade away Francisco Lindor. Talking about some prospects. What? So the final trade proposal, I guess I was onto something towards the beginning of the video when I brought up the Atlanta Braves. I just pulled that out of my head. I don't know where it came from. I can just really see it happening, having Acuna and Lindor on the same squad. That would be the most fun team in all of baseball. So the Indians What? Oh, whoa, okay, wait. This is a little bit interesting, okay? So the Braves would get not only Francisco Lindor, but they would get lefty Brad Hand, and that would make the Braves bullpen a whole lot better considering they re-signed Chris Martin, they just added Will Smith, then Brad Hand in that whole mix. That's disgusting if you ask me. And then they also have Shane Green and maybe a Mark Melancon. I could be wrong on that. Don't quote me. I think Mark Melancon is either on the Braves or the Nationals. I know, I'm a baseball YouTuber that doesn't know what team a player is on. But the Indians would get Ozzie Albies, who just signed an amazing contract. I would be down for that. Not only is he a great player, but his contract is for a couple years and he is being paid pennies. I honestly think that the Braves, they swindled their own player, which kind of sucks to say, but maybe Ozzie Albies is just playing for the love of the game. He kind of cost himself a few million, but you have Albies, Cal Wright, which is the 35th best prospect, and then you have Alex Jackson, who is the Braves' number 25th best prospect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down and say who says no. Apparently, he thinks that the Braves would say no to this. I'm not too sure how that would go. In my opinion, while this does look good on paper, I think that you are giving up too much if you are an Indians fan or if you're the GM of the Indians. Yes, Ozzie Albies is great and he is on that contract, but you have Roberto Perez, who is the best backstop in terms of defensive backstops in baseball, so you could use him for a couple seasons. He's also a 20-plus home run guy. Not sure why you'd want to move on unless, of course, you want to get younger. So I guess you do get younger. You also get a right-handed pitcher in Kyle Wright, but I don't know if that one makes sense. But that's going to do it for today's video. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rank them real quick. So I would say it would go Dodgers trade, then it would go Mets, then it would go, I do like the Ozzie Albies, but I think it would go Dodgers, Mets, then you would go Yankees, then you would go Braves, then you would go, I don't know, the Reds, because Nick Senzel. Hopefully that does not happen. If there is a baseball god out there, you know, it's Christmas time, please just spare me. We've already lost Corey Kluber in one of the worst trades of all time. Do you guys know that Delino DeShields Sr. was traded for Pedro Martinez, and now his son was traded for Corey Kluber? So if Corey Kluber goes off, if Delino DeShields Jr. has a kid, Delino DeShields III, don't trade him, okay? If you have a pitcher, don't do it. All right, I'm going to go cry. Peace out.